Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Nathan Robillard. Thank you so much for joining us. This week, we visit Open Mic Night at 193 Coffee House, speak with a former music major about his time at URI, explore the rich history of Narragansett Bay, and of course, Zach Petrick will have all things URI athletics covered with this week's Rhodey Sports Corner. First up, 193 Coffee House hosted their bi-weekly Open Mic Night this week, featuring several groups of students and local musicians sharing their talent on stage. With more on the popular event, here's Maya Hembrough.
I'm here in the Morrow Union's very own 193 Coffee House, where tonight they will be hosting a variety of student performers in their second Open Mic Night of the semester. As solo artists and small groups prepared for the performances, the coffee house filled with the buzz of students. While outside, the Aurora Borealis lit up the sky above campus, the night's performances continued on through a variety of music genres, with the combination of performers and audience members totaling roughly 35 at the event. In addition to music, other art forms were put on display at the event, including a motivational speech which kicked off the night and a stand-up comedy performance near the evening's end.
I asked the bartender, he doesn't know what's happening, and I remember, oh, I'm in Vermont, they're probably high.
Can you see me? I'm waiting for the right time. I can't read you, but if you want the pleasure's all mine. Can you see me? Using everything to hold back. I guess it could be worse walking out the door with your bags. I don't care no more, so don't you worry. Goodbye, I'm going home.
Through country, comedy, claro, and more, I've been Maya Hembrough with the 193 Coffee House. Back to the studio.
Next up, Aiden Cahill takes us down the road to Narragansett Bay, exploring its history in this week's installment of Aiden on Location.
For as long as life has been here, Rhode Island has always drawn its essence from the Bay. Welcome to Aiden on Location at Narragansett Bay, the heart of the Ocean State. Only a few miles from campus, Narragansett Bay is incredibly hard to miss. It's the largest geographic feature in the state, taking up almost a tenth of its area. Glacial recession about 15,000 years ago played a major part in the formation of the lands that we know as Rhode Island today. As the Laurentide ice sheet recessed, it carved out hills, valleys, islands, and rivers running north-south all throughout the region. For about 500 years following the glacier's recession, proglacial Lake Narragansett covered much of what the present-day bay covers. As the climate evolved, new flora and fauna began to flourish in the area, bringing early people to the banks of what is now Narragansett Bay. The Rhode Island they would have arrived to is very different, however, from the one today, as it would have been considered Mammoth Steppe, a grassy open environment filled with megafauna, such as mastodons. These mastodons and humans may have shared the land together at the same time, though nothing confirms this absolutely in the historical record, as much of it is buried under present-day Narragansett Bay, from when the coast was lower. When the first people arrived here, Narragansett Bay would not have looked as it does today behind me. This would have been a cold river valley many miles from the ocean. Only about 9,000 years ago did it become the tidal estuary that it is today. As the climate evolved, these migratory groups in the area gave way to permanent settlements, with one of the first on the archaeological record being the Joyner site, only a few miles from here in Jamestown. The bay held continued importance into colonial times, where it became the center of Rhode Island's economy. Across the bay in Newport became an economic hub, with trade, piracy, and smuggling all incredibly important to Newport. As well, Rhode Island took over control of the ferries all throughout the bay as early as 1696. As much as Rhode Island doesn't rely on Narragansett Bay for transportation anymore, it still holds an important place in the state's culture, history, present, and future. I'm Aiden Cahill, reporting from Narragansett Bay. Back to the studio.
Thanks, Aiden. As we continue to check in with members of the URI community this semester, Morgan Judd sat down with a former music major at URI to learn more about his experience with the graduate program.
For this week's alumni story, we visit graduate student Victor Main. Main started a non-profit organization in the Rhode Island Guitar Guild, where he met URI teaching assistant Adam Levin, who gave Main the idea of getting a master's degree in music at URI. Victor then got a teaching assistant scholarship that made it financially possible to go to school. Here's what he learned from his time at URI.
I'd say the biggest thing that I learned from my experience was time management. Because I was a TA, I had to keep up a huge class load. I had to work on my curriculum pretty much every day. I was lesson planning for the next couple of days. I was just working really hard, and I was still working privately. Like I was still teaching privately and still maintaining my income so I could keep my head above water.
Since URI, Main has achieved many milestones in his career.
I helped start the Rhode Island Guitar Guild, a nonprofit organization that now puts on concerts all the time. I mean, that's involved with the URI Guitar Festival. In these years, the URI Guitar Festival has just exploded into a giant, almost week-long thing, just being involved in the bigger classical guitar scene. And I'm focusing on early education because what Rhode Island doesn't have that a lot of states do have is like a pipeline from early education into the collegiate level or even into the high school level. Rhode Island has a decent all-state program I've been involved in. That's one of the things I did is I coached the all-state ensemble while I was at URI. So, URI just opened a lot of the connections in the Rhode Island music world. The advice is know that there are going to be struggles as a musician. You can't go into music not knowing that it's going to be difficult financially. It's going to be difficult to stay motivated. So I think dogged pursuit of your ambitions is the biggest one, and really focus on your reasons why you're doing it, because that is your armor against those thoughts in the end.
This is Morgan Judd with Good 5 Cent Cigar.
Thanks, Morgan. Looking ahead, here is a look at what's going on this week at URI. On Friday from 6:30 to 8 p.m. in Atrium 1 of the Memorial Union, Rhody Ridiculousness will host their first improv show of the semester. Admission is free and audience participation is encouraged. Stop by to watch a series of improv games and have a good time to end your week. As part of URI's Italian Heritage and Culture Month, Edwards Auditorium will hold a classical guitar Italian concert on Friday at 7:30. This is one of a series of events throughout October celebrating Italian language and culture in partnership with the URI International Guitar and Mandolin Festival. Finally, be sure to make your way down to the URI soccer complex on Saturday at 7:30 as men's soccer host regional rivals UMass for senior night. With playoff implications on the line, this is a game you won't want to miss. On that note, I'll kick it over to Zach Petrick with this week's Rhody Sports Corner.
Thanks, Nathan. Hello and welcome back to the Rhody Sports Corner. I'm Zachary Petrick. Following their win over Hampton, football took on Brown in the 42nd Governor's Cup over the weekend. Aiden Garvey has the story.
108. That's the amount of times the Rhode Island Rams and Brown Bears have faced off on the gridiron over the past 100 years and change. It was the Rams taking matchup 108 over Brown on Saturday afternoon by a score of 31-21.
Coming into the game, the Rams had taken the last 5 matchups and did not want to lose this one on their home turf. First quarter, Brown with the lead, and Rhode Island marches down the field on 2 big plays. The big run from quarterback Devin Farrell going 44 yards downfield, and an equalizing touchdown from Marquise Buchanan, the first of many big plays he would make on the afternoon.
Feels great, just like last year, came in with a mindset to dominate Brown and keep the cup home, and that's what I came in to do today.
Marquise totaled 107 yards receiving on the contest for his 4th career 100-yard game.
Just trusted the scheme, trusted my teammates, trusted Dev to give me the ball, and then do the rest.
Although good times did not last forever for Rhode Island, big plays from Brown's Matt Childs on this athletic snag and a red zone interception from Solomon Miller were big contributors to a 21-14 Brown lead in the 3rd quarter.
Having the experience to be down and come back, certainly that gives you a increased belief. But like I said, I don't want to continue to play with that fire because it will get back and get you at some point in time, and we can't afford to let that happen.
But big-time players make big-time plays, which is exactly what Gabe Solomons did, getting a hand on this game-tying field goal.
I'm thankful for the guys inside of me because they were the ones that brought the field goal block unit down and give me a crease to be able to go. Coach Lorenzi sent us, and we knew we had to go get it, and it was a crucial part of the game, and I just threw my hand up hoping it would, and then connected.
Brown had chances late, but a forced fumble from Malachi Burby on Jake Wilcox put the final nail in the coffin and gave Rhody their 6th straight Governor's Cup.
The Rams are still unbeaten at the FCS level in 2024, but they have a tough test coming up against the New Hampshire Wildcats next Saturday to try and keep that streak going. From Meade Stadium, I'm Aiden Garvey, Cigar Sports.
Thanks, Aiden. Now let's take a look at some of our other scores around campus. Men's soccer fell 1-0 against St. Louis on Saturday after an early goal. Women's soccer took down Fordham 2-0 on Sunday, picking up their 2nd shutout in 3 games. Volleyball split their weekend series with Duquesne, including a dramatic 5-set win on Saturday. Tennis competed in the ITA New England Regional Championship in Harvard over the weekend. And men's and women's track competed at the New England Cross Country Championships. Swim and dive took down Siena College in their season opener over the weekend. And lastly, men's basketball fell to the back-to-back defending national champions UConn in the Coaches vs. Cancer Hall of Fame Enshrinement exhibition on Monday. That's all for this week's edition of the Rhody Sports Corner. To stay updated with all things URI athletics, follow us at cigar_sports. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Zach. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us here and on Instagram at Rhody Cigar and pick up our print paper anywhere on campus to stay up to date with all your Rhody news. Until next time, I'm Nathan Robillard. This is the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast, and as always, have a great week, Rhody.